Good afternoon. Welcome to Thursday and day 4 of BBB, Build Your Body, Belief, and Bank Account. And today is all about rewriting your money story. So just a quick review. First of all, if you're just jumping in and catching this live, hey Chrissy, you are going to want to go to the link that's in the cover photo of the Prime Life Fit Facebook page and download your workbook. So it's not too late to jump in on the training. You'll just go back through the videos starting from day 1. But the workbook is super duper important to have when you're going through, thank you Chrissy, when you're going through this training. So today we're going to talk about rewriting your money story, and I am going to be teaching quite a bit from the You Are a Badass book, because the chapter on money is just that good. So I'm going to be talking a lot about that, or a lot from that for you guys. So the first thing that I want to start off with is a couple of deep breaths, because we missed that yesterday. We did it at the end, but so we got to get ourselves centered, get our minds open, kind of release anything that's bogging us down mentally. And hey Ellie, I don't know that anyone else is having issues, so I don't know. Chrissy, are you able to hear me and everything okay? Hey Ann. I know that Barb couldn't be on today, but I see some other folks jumping on. So thanks, Chrissy. Let's go ahead and just take a couple deep breaths. Let's get rid of all of the stuff that's in our heads and just be open minds, open heart. Okay, so a big inhale in and exhale. That feels good. Inhale in and exhale. And you guys, just in case you aren't aware of this, anytime you're feeling stressed or anxious about anything in your life, just sitting down and taking a few just big deep breaths can really do wonders. So I've heard that for years and years and years, but really didn't actually start to put that into practice until very recently. So highly recommend it. So as we get started today, I want to start with a quote from Jen Sincero from the You Are a Badass book. And she says, when you up-level your idea of what's possible and decide to really go for it, you open yourself up to the means to accomplish it as well. So what does she mean by this? Well, if we are always living in that scarcity mindset, we are limiting our abundance. We are limiting our greatness. We are limiting the gifts that we have to give to the world. So when you decide to really open up and really, really go for it, it's amazing what shows up. So the people, the circumstances, the ideas, all of that stuff just starts to appear. And it may not happen overnight, of course, but as you start to gradually shift your mindset, you'll start to notice, and you really need to really hone in on your awareness. Little things will start to happen, and it'll, feel like it's almost serendipitous. So you want to start to notice those things as you start shifting your mindset to one of abundance rather than lack. Okay, so what kinds of things came up for you as you were going through and going through the questions in the workbook about your money story? Did you find that you operate more out of scarcity? I know, Chrissy, you said that you definitely feel like you're in scarcity a lot of times. So what exactly came up? Where do you feel like you can improve and start to rephrase those scarcity statements? I'd love to hear some of your comments on that. And just, keeping in mind as we go through this stuff that we all know there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? You can't just sit here and say, oh, I wish, I'm going to manifest $1 million and I'm just going to sit here and not do anything. I'm sorry, but that's really not, that's not what we're talking about. Law of attraction is great, but law of attraction also loves action. So, but the thing that we do have to do is we have to align ourselves with the energy of abundance, okay? So that's why you'll see a lot of times where people will work so hard their whole lives, and then they get to the end of their life and they have, they've just struggled their whole life, and even though maybe they had great jobs and made a great living and they worked hard, their energy just was not aligned with that of an abundance mindset. So, unfortunately, they just don't have anything to show for it, or they've just lived a life of struggle and challenge. So, like I said, it's not just about wishing for it. It's about also taking inspired action. And sometimes we don't really know what the action is. And that's the hard part. We know that we want it, but we don't know sometimes how to go about getting it. And I will tell you that when you do any kind of action, whether it's considered the right action or not, the universe is gonna reward you for that. So rather than just sitting back and accepting your circumstances and not doing anything about it, if you, and maybe your action is volunteering at a soup kitchen, maybe it is giving, to the homeless person on the corner. Maybe your action is, starting a little side business. I don't know. But, once you start taking some kind of action and instead of just sitting back and accepting the circumstances that don't serve you, then stuff starts to move. And it has to be consistent. You can't just do it every once in a while. It's just like working out, got to be consistent. So there's that. And, for those of you who I think, a live on this a few weeks ago. For those of you who have a job that you aren't, completely in love with, here's the thing. If you want to be doing something else, you need to be excellent at what you're doing now. Okay, so as hard as that can be when you are not in love with what you do, you give it your best effort. Okay, and that again sends out that energy, that abundance energy, and it comes back to you in ways that will serve you. So, being wasteful with money is difficult for me. Yeah, Anne, and I think that's normal, and it's not really about being wasteful with money. It's just about being more okay with spending on things that that maybe you wouldn't in the past, and that doesn't mean going out and just going crazy or anything, but spending on things, giving yourself permission to desire other things. And I think for so long, this is, I'm glad you said this, because I think that we as a country, we have forgotten how to dream. I think that there's just been, so much going on, and like, I talked about yesterday, living a life by default, that we really have forgotten how to dream. We've forgotten how to kind of open our minds to possibilities and what is out there, what we could really do, because we were just so busy living life day to day, and day to day life is hard a lot of times. So it's hard to allow ourselves to sit back and just dream. And I remember a few years ago when Nick and I first started our home-based business, and it was the first time in a long time when I actually allowed myself to start dreaming again about what was possible. And I remember my dad was still alive at the time. It was a few months before he passed away. And Nick and I were disagreeing on something as far as what we could have with our business and what we could do. And we were both still learning this stuff and learning about wealth consciousness and abundance and all of that. And we were still operating a little bit in that scarcity mindset. And so we had a little bit of a disagreement on something. And my dad was just like, you know what? It doesn't cost a thing to dream. And I'm like, hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so true. You have to allow yourself to dream. But there's a fine line though, between allowing yourself to dream and visualizing and feeling how good it would feel if you had whatever it is that you desired. And then focusing on the not having of it. So if what you're dreaming of and visualizing makes you more aware of not having it, then that's not good either. So there has to be some middle ground there of finding a way to write your story in a way that feels good. Okay, and again, it goes back to that feeling good and feeling bad. There's really only two emotions, and good or bad. So does what your story says to you, does it make you feel good and hopeful and excited? And I don't even know how I'm going to do this, but I really want to do this, and I'm just going to keep visualizing and keep putting things into action, even if I don't know if it's the right action. I'm just going to keep doing it. If it makes you feel that way, then awesome. Keep on doing that. If, on the other hand, it makes you focus on and dwell on and wallow in the fact that it's not there yet, then you kind of need to shift things around and refocus a little bit, rewrite until you can get to that feeling. Okay, so you start small, right? You don't want to go too outlandish. I want to make $5 million this year. That would be awesome, and maybe it could happen. But that's something that's really hard for our mind to wrap itself around, right? So you want to start small and then build up to a bigger and bigger story as things start coming into your life. And I'm not just talking about, you guys, I don't want you to think I'm just talking about stuff. Because it's so funny. I was thinking about this today. We moved into a new house a couple months ago, and we aren't selling our old house, so we haven't felt like this huge rush to to get stuff out of the old house. And so we've kind of been moving stuff over gradually. And honestly, I've been wearing the same 5 outfits for a couple of months now. And I found that I haven't needed all of the other stuff that's still at the old house. And I'm really, really hesitant to bring it into the new house because I'm kind of digging not having all the stuff. So it's like, I'm not talking about stuff. I'm talking about, wealth to me is so many things. Wealth, is being healthy. It's experiences, and that's what we're more about. We're more about experiences than stuff. And whether that experience is traveling or just having the freedom to be with friends and family when we want to, or volunteering, or we're planning or working on getting all the ducks in a row to go on a mission trip in November. So, there's stuff that it's not just about the stuff, is what I'm trying to say. So, and I love this. The more you have to share. And that really is what it comes down to. So let me just look at my notes here. There was a quote in the book that I want to read to you. Find it. Okay. So tell me if this sounds familiar when you are thinking about money. And so I love, by the way, this book, if you do end up getting it, I highly recommend that you get the audio version as well from Audible. You may even get, if you could buy the Audible version, you might get the Kindle version for free. I can't remember, but I have all three. I have the Kindle, I have this, and I have Audible, because her voice is just, it's so good. She's so funny. Okay, so let's, here's a little one-sided dialogue, okay, that may or may not sound familiar to you. I know it did for me. Yay, I think you're fun to hang, and this is in reference to money, okay? Yay, I think you're fun to hang out with too. Wait, what? You think I'm the root of all evil? How can you say that? All you talk about is how you wish you had more of me, even though you're scared to admit you like me. And you say I'm not there for you. And you think people who like me are greedy pigs. Yet you get ecstatic whenever I show up. And you work so hard to get me to come over. But I keep you in a constant state of worry, and you hate dealing with me. And no matter what I do, it's never enough. One minute you'll act like you'll die without me, and the next I make you feel like a filthy whore. You know what? I'm done. See you later, freak. So, I mean, it's funny, but it's kind of that's the conversation and the dialogue that we have with ourselves a lot of times when it comes to money. And then she goes on to say, considering that this, or some version of this, is the sort of relationship most people have with money, I don't think the question is, why can't we make the kind of money we want? I think the better question is, how the hell do we expect to? So it just kind of brings home the fact that we have such conflicted feelings around abundance. She talks a lot about how she felt for a long time that it was more noble to live in poverty. So basically, she would travel across town to save like 2 cents a gallon on gas and do all this stuff because she felt like it was, having money was just evil. And so she did whatever she could to kind of not get it, right? But then what she came to realize is that the more that she had, the more that she had to give. So it's pretty interesting. So let me see here. What else did I want to share with you guys? And this drives home what I was saying earlier about the fine line between thinking about what it is that you desire and getting emotional about it, getting happy about it, feeling those emotions as if it's already in your life, focusing on that, as opposed to the not having of it. Okay, so if you're focused on the not having of it, then it feels bad because it's not there yet. And so what she says here, when we say we want money for something, we often come from a place of, I don't have it, it does not exist, so I need to create it. This has us focusing on and believing in lack, thereby lowering our frequency and attracting more lack. So this is how she shifts it and how you might start to shift some of your thoughts. I am manifesting $5,000 to go on a trip to Italy. You just watch me. So do you see the difference there? The difference in the energy and whatever it is that you want. Maybe it's just, I'm manifesting to have a surplus at the end of this month. Just watch. And then you get in that heart space of feeling it and seeing it and, looking at your bank statement and saying, probably online now, I don't have paper bank statements anymore, but looking at it online and saying, holy crap, I've got $300 extra this month. Awesome. So just really getting into, I have to see, love the old George Carlin. Yeah, less to have to maintain. So true. But yeah, so just getting really emotional about that. So as we are thinking about this stuff, and I put sometimes I dish out some tough love, and I do it because I do love you, and it's not to be, not meant to ruffle any feathers or anything, but I kind of came up with this, and it was, continue thinking like a broke ass, continue being a broke ass. And I say that with the utmost love and respect because, and I'm talking to me just as much as anyone, because that is exactly how I used to think. And I just wouldn't allow myself to think about having any type of abundance in my life. And there was a big part of me that I think felt like I didn't deserve it, didn't feel worthy of it. And that is definitely something to explore too. And that all goes back to limiting beliefs, which we talked about the first couple of days, right? So you've got to get a handle on what those limiting beliefs are around abundance and start to rewrite your story. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with the body belief. We're going to take those limiting beliefs, those disempowering thoughts around money, and we're going to rewrite the statement. So tomorrow, when we get back on, what I want you to do is have ready for me. We're going to be wrapping up tomorrow. So Have your empowering statements around money. Some of you have a hard time holding on to money. Some of you have a hard time letting go of it. And again, it's not that that's either way is right or wrong. It's just if it doesn't make you feel good, then, there needs to be more of a balance, right? It's a challenge. And you guys, this is stuff that you can't fix in 5 days. We can scratch the surface, but the key is just getting more aware of it, right? And just knowing what makes ourselves tick and how we can move forward and just kick ass. And that's really what we were meant to do here, is just kick ass each in our own unique little ways. So we're all different, and that's so awesome, isn't it? And we're all different. We all have different strengths and abilities and dreams and things we want to accomplish, and that's what we're put here to do. So as we wrap up, just remember, when you're thinking of maybe feeling a little lack, being a scarcity sister or mister, just ask yourself, go back to the basics. Do I have shelter? Do I have food? Do I have clothing? Do I have, even the bare minimum to pay my bills? Are you, even if you're not able to pay all of your bills, are you able to pay one of your bills? And that's where it gets hard, but it's all about digging deep and going to gratitude. Gratitude is a game changer. And I could go on and on about gratitude. I think we talked a lot about that already, but just know that getting grateful for what you got is going to bring more to you as you start to shift from that scarcity mindset to one of abundance. And that really is what it's all about. Okie dokie. So I'll watch that, Ann. I'll have to watch that later. I will go back through the comments and answer any questions. Be sure to post in the group. Tomorrow's day 5. I can't believe this week is going by so fast. Day 5 will be wrapping up. We'll be finishing the homework on money, and then just doing a little review and also announcing the prize. I'm so excited. Okay, you guys, take care. Have a great day, and thank you so much for popping on today. I really appreciate you, and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.